We're on page of Dalet. Bottom, close to the bottom of the page. It's in the middle of discussing how Midas also have Midas themselves have Chabat Chagasnei. And show Maschas Hoa Psak Din. Chain b'Midas Ha'ava. So first it's spoken the way it is in a Psak Din. There's the Psak Din L'Schus, and there are three stages. There is the logic, the Seichel Svara, then there's the feeling, and then there's the actual ruling. Similarly, in the feeling, in the emotion of love, so there is a madriga which is called tam v'seichel m'chayev esav, which means the logic, the reason, intellectual reason that what will be the word? That makes us love. Generally, two reasons why there's a feeling of love to someone. Because the other person is very special, very, very, very important, very great. Or there's the other person did something good to him. So this is the reasoning why you should love someone. Either because he's special or because he does something good to you. That's the stage of the seichel. Then there's the ava itself, which is the feeling of love. The expression of the ava, talking words of ava, love, that's the nehi shava. That's an ava. Midas hachesed, it was a tam. Similarly, midas hachesed, usually Ava and Chesed are together, but here he breaks them down to two different feelings. But there's two different things. Ava is the feeling of love. Chesed is kindness. What is kindness? Here was a time. The logic, the reason why he is kind. There is the love, the underlying reason why he is kind, because he has feelings of love. Then there is the kindness, then there's kindness, and then the actual giving of the actual expression of the kindness, that is nehi. So similar to the way it is in the middle of chesed, kindness, similar to that, it's also midas agvura in the middle of judgment. Al Kapanim, what do we see from this entire discussion? So we see that midas contain within them meichin. The meichin lower themselves in the level of midas, and there is a part of the meichin that reaches midas. So what is meichin and midas? It means there's the part of the meichin, which is the reasoning. So it can be chachma and with chesed and gvura. He's going to explain later what does it mean. But the achra, there's the meichin, the logic, the intellectual, underlying intellectual base. Then in seichel gufa there is the achra, the decision. In the decision of what way, which midah to choose. The midah of chesed, the midah of gvura, that comes from Mayach Hadas. Mayach Hadas makes the decision. And within midas the midas guf of chesed gvura, who is the decider, which direction to go? That is tiferes. What is the connection to das? Das hakos inyan. Lo yak mashamasik v'sichle, ki ima shemakev v'sichle shukein. So he differentiates between two ways of understanding, of not understanding is the wrong word, because that's a two way of the intellectual grasping of a concept. It can be a saga and a hakora. So a saga means they understand the formula. That the formula tells you that if there's a formula that A brings B. That's intellectual understanding, which is mufshet. Hakor means you understand the thing itself. That's something that we can, in a way, experience. Sometimes we understand the formula, but we don't really understand the thing itself. Sometimes we understand the actual how it causes. We actually understand what causes what. That's a core. A core, he calls it recognition. We have a clear recognition. He has another words to describe it. They really get the inner, the deep internal aspect of the thing, which causes makamach. So das means to understand, not just having the formula. What, for example, you have a logic, you have certain logic. So there's a, you know that if those two things meet, the result is kach v'kach. So you know that what?
I'm sorry. What's the example of hakora and hasaga and hakora? Is there any comes to mind? Something that more explains it better?
That I'm trying to understand, to explain that example can you bring?
With the teacher, you said last time.
What was this? I forgot already. What
with the teacher, with the letter, with the father, his father died.
Oh, that's one marshal, right? That's a marshal. But yeah, okay, that marshal is very strong because over there because it's neget to him, so he fainted. That's on the feeling side. I think this is okay. That's one marshal, Daka. But I'm trying to find something within that. That's yeah, it's true. It's, yeah, I use that marshal. But find a better marshal. I mean, that marshal talks about art of makes affects his heart that he faints, which gives us a good illustration. I think it's more than not. It's more. A better way to look at it is that sometimes we know, we know that A, like I said, A causes B. So let's say you know that if you do this, the result will be this. The two ways to knowing it. You know that you just know the fact that A brings B, but that's called a sog. You understand. But a core means that you understand. You have a real clear better understanding. Why is it that A causes B? Why is it that one thing results in the other? Maybe that will be also marshal in the Gosh. Okay. So what do we see here? So we see a reish current, soy המכריע בחסד הגבוה מבחינת פנים וסמך דווקא. שבאיזה הכוון המגיע בו שם כמובן חיצוני סמך. Okay, so he started. The whole discussion started by explain the statement. Was the reason Kavim Tzoy and the other two Kavim? He said two reasons. One is not reasons. Two aspects in the difference between Kavim Tzoy and Kavim. One was the Kavim Tzoy starts very high and reaches very low. And the other was that The other was that it stays the same. It's the same thing. It doesn't change. Then he brings one marshal from the human being, that the Reish, which is the Emtsoi, is above the Kav Emtsoi starts in the Reish, and it reaches all the way to the end. So that, and the Reish is above so that's what he's trying to say, that the base Kavin starts lower, the Kav Emtsoi is higher. So we see that the head is above the hands. The hands represent the base Kavin, and the head is above them. That's a very Gashmistic illustration. Kav Emtsoi is higher. Then he got into then he explained it more in a psychological term. In other words, not just the body, but more in also in Keches HaNefesh, also in psychological terms, that there's an aspect of the Meichin which is above the Midas. That the Midah is Chesed Gvura. The Meichin is higher. Meichin is above the Midas, and that he brought the dogma that the Midas itself has the Meichin Sheba Midas. He says which aspect of the Midas is the decision within the Midas. The decision itself comes from Das, which is the Kav Emtsoi. So that's the key point. So this whole discussion of midas have meichin within them illustrates how meichin starts very high and it goes down in the way into the midas. Another difference, as we said earlier, there's two differences. Shabbos Kavin yesh b'm chelukei madregos. The base Kavin, the left and right, there's, like we said earlier, started saying it, as we see chelukei madregos in the way it's experienced in the human experience. So we see that there are stages. There's the meichin, the way they are be'etzem, and then the way the meichin affect the midas. You know, the way is meichin lo yesh paras midas klal. When the meichin is dominant, when the meichin dominate, there's no spirals, there's no excitement. When a person is too excited, he cannot use his mind. His mind is not working properly. This says confuses it. The feeling confuse the intellectual analysis. And then when it does reach the stage that the emotion is functioning and is excited and is inspired, then the intellectual side is hidden. That is the way it works in the Chesed Gvur. Not only then the next stage in the midas. First is the meichin, then there's the midas itself. Then the next stage, when we actually execute the midah, when you use it in the poel, what you said earlier, ashpas achesed, medava divrei ava, sagdin sha'im, poisek atazaka. In that level, ain't by lo meichin lo midas. In that level, it's not no meichin neither midas. In Kabbalah, when described the spheres, so the haravis are called netzach v'hoid. Netzach v'hoid means that, like we said, nehi, the actual execution of the feeling. So he says here, they call the haravis she'emem loy tam v'leirech. We all know from Sukkot that was different in the four meanings. So haravis is ein tam loy tam v'leirech. So when he said that Nehi Midas, the Midas, the execution is Ein Bem Loi Mechem Loi Midas, that's Loi Tam V'Loi Reach. Tam, I mean, Tam and Reach is like Mechem and Midas. So this is the way it is in the Midas, in the two Midas, in the two left and right, Chesed and Gvur, Av and Yir. In the feelings, the actual feelings, it's all there's a descent, a gradual descent. First, it's in the state of Meichin, then the state of Midas, and then the state of Maisa. So each one is a lower level. Schenken be Meichin. Schenken kavem tzoi. I'm sorry. Schenken kavem tzoi. Shukadover echem trosavat tzoi. Eine mina das vada isoi. There's one direct line from the top to bottom, and there's no change. There's no chiluk madris. Kamoy ein tishel das. That's a mimer to express the fact that the das expresses itself all the way to his side. V'chein b'midas. So just okay. This was we already said last time. This next line, I'm not sure. We can learn it a few ways. Chein b'midas arachlim al idea. I give dafka kashem magish zol lo say memeilam say barachlim al. In Midas, we see that Rachmim, that the feeling of Rachmim is a result of Magish Zulose. So that shows us that the Eresh Zulose, which is the ultimate expression, the ultimate not expression, the ultimate yerida, the ultimate descent. You relate to someone else, Zulose. That creates the feeling. That creates the feeling of Rachmim. So that's an illustration. In the middle of Rachmim, the connection. It's not a yerida, but it's one resolution. Dover echad nechlaseh vatzev. I'm having a hard time explaining the two Mishal Kishal Das and Rachma the Hergish. It's supposed to illustrate in the Mikara Tzoi. There's not change. It's the same thing. I'll leave it at that. Dugmas of Lamaila of Kaponim, what is the Nimshal? All this is Mishalim from Mashal. Even started in page Chadad. Even Zeldach Mashal Besechel Ba'adam Shesh Bekim Kav. So after we describe, so what did we describe? That in the base kav, they describe what is unique with kavim tzoi. That the base kavim have their limitation. Base kavim have they start lower and they don't end that far, and also there's a descent. There's chilukah madreges. Hashem and kavim tzoi. It starts very high, it reaches very low, and it doesn't change. It stays the way it is. So these are the two qualities of kavim and tzoi. The basic kavin chachan baga, like we said earlier, the gimel kavin of chachan, choch mechesed netzach beyimin, bina gvura hoid mismoil, and dati. That's the first he said is the emphasis. He said the the basic kavin chachan baga. They don't reach all the way to the top. They only reach Chitzeni Sameich. That's that's point number one. In the higher level, the shirish, everything is the shirish of everything is in the keser. In the Rotzen. So the difference is that kavim tzoi dafka ila da kesef and pnimis kesef. Dafka kavim tzoi reaches all the way to pnimis kesef. V'zeu she'avrich ad hakotz ha'elim b'yeser. So it starts all the way from the top. What it's oil and it's also Ya'ir both ways. There's oil and Nimsha, Keser. L'chein ein b'ze chiluk ha'madregas b'chol ha'kav. There's not different. There's no chiluk ha'madregas. It's all one flow of the Keser. V'nimshach ma'avriach ad lamata b'yes. And it also reaches as low as the lowest madrega. So this is the unique thing of Kav HaMitzoi. Kav HaMitzoi means that aspect of the, let's say, in the Neshama, the Himself. It's a certain aspect that moves and is expressed all the way from the top to the bottom without chiluk madregas, without changing, that that symptom, that a contraction and a diminishment, reaches as is all the way. So we see this unique thing of Kav HaMitzoi, we see illustrated in a few things. Number one, the Ava is out the Prince Makova. It says Medrash brings Tanya a few places. The Ava is in Makova. So the Makova is the four, the number four. That's we're not talking about the fourth part, but the three parts are Kava Yamin, Kava Small, Kava Emtza, which is Avrom, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Avrom, Kava Yamin, Yitzchak, Kava Small, Yaakov is Kava Emtzoi. So Kabbalah is always talking about, saying that the three Avos represent the three Kavim. It means Small Emtza. So what do we see? That Avrom, Yotzim and Ishmael, plus Moses of Sales. We see that Avrom, the Gemara said, the Gemara says that Yotzim and Ishmael, Avrom was able, from Avrom, Ishmael came out, which is Moses of Sales. It's something external and the Sales. Yaakov, Yitzchak, and Ace. So Avram and Yitzchak, there's what comes out from them, something not perfect, imperfection. Why? What's the reason? They say Beis HaKavim is Chalukah Madregas, like we described earlier. Beis HaKavim, there's Chalukah Madregas. It's a diminishment as they go down. B'meila Shorim Isma'at Misalim Madrega, because it's a type of in Kar Chesed Gvur, the earth diminishes from stage to stage. From Shekol Levad, like he said, that if it's Ha'ora means it's only a reflection. So it's like I said, you see any light. The further it goes, if it's only the light, so the light diminishes. The further it goes away from the source of the light. So, because it's Ha'ora. Okay, Yesh was a Moses chef. So there's a level that goes that far that Moses is already the outside. Another dogma, Tzipone Yad V'Regel. That's always said in Pashtus, and also the more conceptual concept of Tziponaim. What is the nails? The nails are the moistness, something that's outside. That's why the nails, we don't feel, when we cut a nail, we don't feel pain. It's something which is external. So that in another thing, in Chayes HaNefesh, Tziponaim is an illustration of the union of moistness, which means something outside. Because the shefa ends. Okay, about the Marshal Anizah must understand like the light. The light goes very far, it loses its strength. It becomes it loses it. So the same way here, that the oil, because it's ha'ora, the ha'ora, chesed and gvur is only ha'ora, it's not the etzem. So it descends so far, then it becomes moist, it becomes something which is outside. That like Ishmael and Esau. Aval Yaakov, mitose shleim. That same Gemara. The Gemara says Yaakov mitose shleim. All his children followed the path. Nobody went off the derech, which means all his children mitose shleim. What does it mean? What's the reason? There was enough shefa moises, nothing came out, there was nothing outside because a cloud. Because he reaches all the way to Apnis Atzmus, which is the ultimate perfection. Knas atzmut ush nimshach halakav. Atzmut is nimshach. Atzmut itself is nimshach. It's not the oil. The atzmut is nimshach. L'cheinik Yaakov shlima davon. And that is what says in Zoya that Yaakov is called shlima davon. In Medrash the Lashon is pchir shebe'avos. Li is shazam shacham knas hashleim is the so. It is the perfection of Ein Sof, the atzm itself. L'chein mitas shleim it came with a shemeis l'seilas klal. Lo shemachizak klal. Like I said in the mashal, if you take a candle and it stands in one place, and there's a light coming out of it, so the further the light goes, the ha'ara, it loses its strength. But if the candle itself, you move the candle itself, so no matter how far you'll go, it'll keep the same strength because the etzem stays. It's a very gash with the kamash, but it brings out the point that kinas atzmos nimshach kamoshu. It's not how Mela does not, it never loses its strength. Mela mitas shleim. So that was the first illustration of the in Madrigas L'maylo how Kava Emtsoy as this special quality that it doesn't change. So there's another illustration. So Gamken Milas Kava Emtsoy the Torah. Like I said, the Mishnah says, so these three amudim says in Kabbalah that says that three amudim also connected the three kavim. So obviously, Chilus Chasadim is Chesed. Avodah is the Kav HaGvura. Because Avodah Pashas is Korbanos. Korbanos, if you burn the Korban, Allah, that's Kav HaGvura. Torah is Kav HaEmtzoi. So that's the three kavim. What do we see? There's a mile in Kav HaEmtzoi, the Torah, that doesn't exist in the other two. What is the mile? Shazam Shabbat, Pnius Hatzin Sof, Nishach Sator Lamata, Kamashir Lamata. Torah is different than the other two kavim. That is nimshach kamosh lamata kamosh lamayla. When we learn, like it says in Kuntas people is here. First of all, the Alter in Perik Tani Perik Hey, but Tani Perik Hey doesn't say how high it is. But in the Kuntas he explains in Tanya that the Torah doesn't change when we learn in our physical. What the halachas? That's the lesson we got to say. When we learn halacha in Torah, halacha in the Mishnah, in the Gemara, and Shulchan Aruch, so that halacha does not change. It's exactly the way the essence of Chachmas Eretz HaKadosh Baruch Hu is expressed in the halacha. It's pure. It's exactly the same. It is the way it is in its source. It doesn't change. That's the unique part of Torah. When you learn the halacha of Shnai Meir and Betalis, I think this is the type of names. I don't remember what Dugma brings in Kuntasach. When you look any halacha that we know, that we learn, so this is the essence of the halacha the way it is. The mile does not change. So that's what it says in Kuntasach. But here brings two other illustrations of the fact that Torah doesn't change. Moshe Lamatak, Moshe Lamaylan doesn't change. Number one, Lachain Divrei Torah in Mekabelin Tumah. Divrei Torah are not Mekabel Tumah, which means that says a person's tummy can learn Torah without being Metar, without Torah. Why? Because Divrei Torah Mekabelin Tumah. The Torah is not going to be. Torah is not affected by its environment, by the surrounding environment, by the tumah. So it's not affected by it. Torah stays in the Gdushos.
What do you mean no change? Lamato, you don't understand it the same way that you understand Lamaylo.
You don't understand, but it's the same essence. Let's say there's the Torah says that like I said, Shnai and Betalis. The concept of Shnai and Betalis is Chachmas Eretz HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not the pshat that the Eibishter wants something else. The Eibishter, the Chachma is something else, and then when it reaches our Madriga, it's Shnai and Betalis. Shnai and Betalis. This is the essence of Chachmas HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the way it's described in the Gas HaKodesh. Now, I think what you're referring to is what we always learn, the famous thing that the Gan Eden, you learn it differently. That's like a different point. You can find it. What is the word? And this is yes. The Lashon and the Sachen, it uses Kabbalah concepts here. It says that halacha what the halacha is namshachas chachmei lo da matzah bach amul bach v'gashmis. Al bach is ein lekal bach chachmei lo betchila v'chim sichlim. V'chalek between Torah, he explains that the Torah halacha is ha'oras ha'chachmei me'ira b'em begol. That's okay, man. That's already going away from the topic. The point is that in Torah, we feel that because, and the truth is, if you think about it, you can understand it. One second. And understand it a little differently. That when you learn Torah, when you learn in Torah, it says again, the words bring the Moshe Stein as a metal. So what you learn, this is what Eibishter wants. There's a direct connection of your mind with what the Eibishter's wants. There's no efsek. It's a direct connection to Chachmas HaKadosh Baruch. That's a simple way. But again, I brought it in just to illustrate. But here now, Maimon doesn't talk. He brings more the shlila. Ein mekabelim tumah. Torah is not affected. This is the halacha. That person doesn't have to go to mikveh before he learns Torah, even if he's Tomer, because Torah is not affected by the Yerida by the fact that the person learns it is Tomer. It's not metamer. And this Chatz Eagle to learn now. Last time we learned it last time, we also said for a little while on it. The mitzvah is an the money that I want in the bar minayu. Schenken b'Torah doesn't come out. But if you again, it's the same dogma from the fact why did the Gemara says why is it that Monday the Rabban and the Bolo, why is it that the Talmidei Chachamim will sit all day and learn in Beis Medrash? They don't do hard work. So how come their clothing become they lose they become given, but again I also get the word in English that they lose the spark because minayu from the shade. That's what the Gemara says. So, but Chassidus explains that shade doesn't mean shading. It means not. It doesn't mean. Chassidus said the inner meaning. Mana the Rabbanan, the levush of the Rabbanan. That's mitzvahs. It says in Tanya, mitzvahs are levush and Torah is mazon. So the levush of the Rabbanan is really mitzvahs. So mitzvahs have mitzvahs can have. There's a chiza. There can be a chiza of l'umazah in mitzvahs. What does Chassidus bring a dogma? I don't forget now. The dogma that Chassidus brings, how when the person who does mitzvahs can never, it's affected. The evil can never be nicked from it. By Schenken B'Torah. The Torah, it's only one of the only the man, only the mitzvahs have that chesed. Schenken Torah is not Mekabel Duma. Another dogma, another expression, we see that Torah is not affected by its environment.
What Chesed could be in mitzvahs.
I don't remember now what it says.
Maybe you could have a Algrasha of Yeshus.
Yeah, probably Agash of Yeshin. That's general. Yeah, the Agash of Yeshin. Another illustration. תלמידי חכמים אין ערך של גיהנם שלטת בהם, שאין בזה אחיזה כלל. שם אחיזה applies to both. So, no matter דירותינו קבלן תומה, and also תלמידי חכמים אין ערך של גיהנם שלטת בהם. Also, the Gemara in Sof Giga says that תלמידי חכמים, the ערך של גיהנם שלטת בהם, what's meant this? Because תלמיד חכם, what's a תלמיד חכם? His entire being is Torah. So, אין ערך גיהנם של גיהנם שלהם. In other words, the evil energy doesn't have an effect on it. So, these two expressions in Gemara, I think they're in the same place over there in the end of a Giga, that Einem Kavrim Tuman, maybe in term come Tuman, that's Brachas. So, both of these expressions illustrate the concept that Torah is not affected by its environment. Okay, so that is, so we brought two Gemaras, one from Yaakov, Kavrim Tzoy, and the other one from Torah. Torah is Kavrim Tzoy. Now he brings in another illustration which is really connected, like he's going to say in a second. That is also the level of das of Moshe. That das of Moshe also doesn't have is in a way that it's the direct flow, not how what do we see it? Because Torah, that's connected to what you said before. Torah is Vayem Hashem al Moshe, Moshe. To Moshe. What is Moshe? It says in Zaya, Moshe milagov Yaakov milabah. Moshe and Yaakov, when the Zaya describes the madrigas of the daily soul, daily soul is the wrong word here, of the like the Spizin. So what does it say? That Moshe and Yaakov really are both the same madriga, but what Yaakov milabar? Yaakov is in the outside milabar, bachutz, and Moshe milagav, Moshe bifnim, which means the shneim b'kavim tzoi. They're both in kavim tzoi, but one is milabar, one is milagav. So what do we see in Moshe? Ein baz the efesh klav and efnim v'tachitzayim. There's no difference between the inner madrig and the outer madrig. So we see that Moshe Milgav, Yaakov Milabar, that they're the same madrig. So one is bechutz, one is pnim, but they're the same madrig, which aim by the efesh. The mele is v'zeh b'kav
Milgav u'milavar. This itself is a chiluk.
Can't hear what?
Milgav u'milavar. This itself is a chiluk. Said ein b'zeh madregos.
No, I mean, they are both. One is pnimis, one is chitzonius. There's no different. There's no. The key is. There's no real difference between them. Maybe it's Maramas or something more. I'll do more research on this expression here. I guess maybe in Zion over there he says something more about it. So this concept that there's no difference between pnimis and chitzonius is only in kavim tzoi. The shmavich halakotz real in kotz tachten kulam b'shod. Hold on 1 second. Let me see. Okay, so I see now there's all the two sources. One is in Tikkun Zohar, and one is in Zohar itself. When it says that so in Zohar it says that there's a certain Madriga Nevuah that only Yaakov and Moshe reached. Because Moshe says, V'yirani Odom v'choy. Yaakov Ksiv, it's interesting. Yaakov Ksiv, Vaychi Yaakov, Yaakov reached Vaychi. Nevuah said the Nachtam Espeklar Yamir. That's one expression of this concept of Yaakov Milabar. See what else we can find. No, there's another sefer that talks about we have to interesting thing that Yaakov and Moshe are both in Parshas Vaychi. We have the Birchas Yaakov, and in Parshas Bocha we have the Birchas Moshe. So it applies to that point. That they're both the same. One is Milgav, one is Milba. What else is there? Okay. Okay, maybe I'll look a little more into it. So the idea is that Yaakov and Moshe are really aim was effort. They express the same thing.
But I think Rabbi Tachter also referring to a very important point that we always say Penimi and Chitzoni.
Yeah.
Huge difference in Madrigal.
Yeah, in Bechlal, Pnimis Achitzonius is huge different. That's the Chiddush of Kavim Tzayv, ain't effort Pnimis Achitzonius. Like I said before. What? Sorry.
But it's bringing from the Medegav Levar, Moshe and Yaakov, and saying, saying that the terminology that's used in here is contradicting with what
it's not contradicting. I'll tell you. I understand what you're saying, but just we said before when I get to Meichin, right? Like my marshal, let's say from the candle. The candle can be in its original place, and it can be lower, but it stays the same. Like he said earlier, that it's one is in state in the way there's das and Tiferes. It's two different madrigas. The point is that the essence stays the same. It's not true that it's a low level. It's a low level in the sense that it reaches lower, but in the sense that it's the inner part is not changed. One is pnimis, one is chitzonius, but the pnimis and chitzonius are the same thing. Like we said, it's the marshal, but like I said, it can take the source of light stays in, that's his source here. So you can stay here, and only how it comes out. So when the it diminishes, but it takes the etzem itself, and the etzem goes to the next place, the next step. So it's not in its original place, but it's the etzem itself. So there is pnimis achitzonius. The chiddush is that it ain't a mishtan. There's pnimis, there's chitzonius, but the chitzonius and the pnimis are the same. The chitzonius is not. It's further away, but it's not changing. It's that's the point he's making. But it's an important observation. Maybe we'll figure something better out by tomorrow. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Hanukkah is going to be okay, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, maybe one day I'll see. In the meantime, everything is normal. All right.
Right.